Hello there, I'm Mr. Vlad, and my jaw hurts like crazy. I have no idea why, it feels like someone hit me in the face with a baseball bat. And now that I've shared that little bit of useless information with you, onto the topic of the actual video. Namely, mods in Warframe, which ones to pick. Before we begin though, this is not a how to use mods video. This video explains which mods you should use for which weapon and why. So if you don't know how to use mods at all, you should check out my how to use mods video by clicking on the annotation on the video right now. Anyway, back to this video. I'll be explaining how to choose which mods to use on a specific weapon. I won't be covering all the weapons, that'd be too much work, and I'm lazy. So instead I'll explain how to choose the mods yourself. What you need to understand first is that mods increase the base stats of the weapon or warframe they're equipped into. For instance, if you have a weapon that does 100 damage, using a mod that adds 20% damage will make it do 120 damage. Adding another mod which increases damage by 50% won't make it do 180 damage, it will make it do 170 damage. Now, the next thing you need to understand is that a vast majority of weapons do 3 types of damage: impact, puncture, and slash. Each of these are effective against different types of enemies, but I'll cover that in another video. The reason I'm mentioning the damage types now is because there are mods which increase those specific types of damage, like the rupture mod for rifles, which increases impact damage done. Whenever you want to get the maximum efficiency out of a weapon, you should always use mods that affect the features of the weapon that are already good. For instance, the Gorgon here does primarily impact damage, therefore it only makes sense to use a mod that increases impact damage done. If you used a mod that increases the other types of damage, you wouldn't get a big damage boost since those types of damage have a low base damage on this specific weapon. You can apply this logic to warframes as well. For instance, if your warframe has a low amount of shields like Valkyr, you don't want to even bother with using a redirection mod, because you won't get much use out of it. You're better off using a vitality mod since she has a decent health pool. What you should focus on when modding is how to make a weapon or warframe better at what it's already good at. For instance, Valkyr has an armor rating of 600, so it's a great idea to use a steel fiber mod on her since she'll end up with a ridiculous amount of armor, making it look like enemies are hitting her with a wet noodle. Of course, you can use mods to fix some flaws of a weapon. For instance, if a weapon has a very short range, you can use a reach mod, or if a weapon has a very slow swing speed, you can use a fury mod. Or if some weapon takes 2 years to reload, you can add a reload speed mod. Now some general advice. If a weapon has a low crit chance, it's a waste of mod capacity to use a mod that increases critical strike chance. Generally, unless it's at the very least a base of 15% critical strike chance, the weapon shouldn't be modded for crit. You should also keep in mind that some weapons don't do as much damage as others when they crit, so take that into consideration when modding your weapon. The same logic applies with status chance, but with status, I'd say you can get away with a 10% base. What is status? Well, I'll be explaining that in my next video. If this video helped you figure out how to mod your items, I'd ask you to leave a like. It takes a second of your time, but helps me out a shit ton. That's all from me today. Mr. Vlad is taking a hike.